The sound of a wheelchair tipping over cut. Through the ocean noise like a crack of thunder, people froze. A girl cried out as laughter echoed behind her. And before anyone could step forward, the ground itself seemed to rumble, as if something powerful was arriving, something no one expected. And nothing would be the same after that moment. If stories about unexpected kindness and human courage move you, take a second to subscribe to Kindness Tales. These are the stories that remind us who we really are. And while you're here, tap like and share your thoughts in the comments, because your voice matters too. The girl's name was Lily, and most days she loved Santa Monica Pier, the smell of salt in the air, the sound of gulls arguing over fries, the distant music drifting from street performers. All of it made her feel alive in a way few places did. For Lily, the pier wasn't just a tourist spot. It was freedom. It was one of the few places where she felt like she belonged to the world, instead of watching it from the sidelines. Lily had been using a wheelchair since she was 10 years old, after a car accident changed everything in a single night. Her legs never fully recovered, and while doctors talked about progress and possibilities, the truth settled quietly into her life. This was how things were now. It took years to stop feeling angry at her own body, even longer to stop feeling invisible. She lived with her mom in a small apartment a few miles inland. Money was always tight. Her mom worked double shifts at a grocery store, coming home exhausted but still smiling, still asking about Lily's day, like it mattered more than anything else. Lily tried to be strong for her. She didn't complain much. She learned how to navigate curbs and crowded sidewalks. She learned how to smile when strangers stared too long. The pier days were special because they were theirs. Sometimes her mom could get a day off, and they'd take the bus together, Lily's chair squeaking slightly as it locked into place. Other times Lily went alone, insisting she was fine, that she needed to feel independent. Her mom worried, but she trusted her daughter's strength. That afternoon Lily had gone alone. She wore her favorite hoodie, the one faded from too many washes, and had her headphones around her neck. She wasn't listening to music. She liked hearing the world hear. She stopped near the railing, watching the waves crash and retreat like the ocean was breathing. She noticed them before they noticed her. A group of teenagers, loud, restless, feeding off each other's energy. They weren't unusual. The pier was full of people like that. Lily had learned to read body language over the years, and something about the way they looked around made her uneasy. She considered turning back, but the walkway was crowded. She told herself she was being paranoid. One of them brushed past her chair harder than necessary. She steadied herself, heart pounding, hoping that would be the end of it. It wasn't. A comment followed, sharp and cruel, about her chair, about her being in the way. She looked down, pretending not to hear, a survival skill she'd mastered. Then another voice joined in, louder, mocking the way she moved. People nearby glanced over but kept walking. Lily felt that familiar burn behind her eyes. She hated that feeling, the one that told her she was small, powerless, a problem to be stepped around. She tried to roll forward to leave, but one of them stepped in front of her, blocking her path. Someone laughed and said something she wouldn't repeat even to herself. Her hands shook on the wheels. She asked them to please move, her voice barely steady. That was when it happened. A sudden shove. Her chair tipped, metal scraping against wood. She hit the ground hard, pain flashing through her side. The world tilted. Sounds blurred. She heard laughter again, sharper this time, and a word thrown at her that cut deeper than the fall ever could. People stopped. Phones came out. No one moved. Lily lay there stunned, staring at the sky. She tasted salt and tears. She thought of her mom. She thought of how tired she'd looked that morning. And for a brief, crushing moment, Lily wondered if this was all she would ever be to the world. An inconvenience, a joke. Then the sound came. At first it was distant, like thunder far away. A low rumble that didn't belong to the ocean. Heads turned. The laughter faded into nervous silence. The sound grew louder, deeper, unmistakable. Motorcycles. They came into view at the far end of the pier, chrome flashing in the sunlight. One bike, then another, then more, engines humming, in a way that vibrated through the wooden planks under everyone's feet. Leather jackets, helmets, patches stitched onto backs. They moved slowly, deliberately, like they knew exactly where they were going. The teenagers stiffened. The crowd shifted. The bikes stopped, forming a loose circle around Lily and the fallen wheelchair. Engines cut. Suddenly the pier was quiet in a way it hadn't been all day. A quiet full of attention, when by one the riders dismounted. They were men and women, some older, some younger, faces weathered by sun and miles of road. One of them knelt beside Lily without hesitation. His voice was calm, steady, asking if she was hurt, telling her not to move yet. Another rider gently righted the wheelchair, checking it for damage like it was something precious. Someone took off their jacket and draped it over Lily's shoulders, shielding her from the stairs, from the cold she hadn't even realized had crept in. The teenagers tried to laugh it off, muttering excuses, saying it was just a joke. No one laughed with them this time. One of the bikers stood, tall and silent, and looked at them. He didn't yell, he didn't threaten. He simply said that they should leave. His voice carried authority earned over years, not volume. They hesitated. The crowd watched. Then one by one they backed away, disappearing into the mass of people, their earlier bravado gone. Lily was shaking now, but not from fear. From the sudden realization that she wasn't alone, that strangers had seen her as someone worth protecting. The biker who'd knelt beside her helped her sit up slowly, asking her to breathe, to tell him where it hurt. Another rider offered water. Someone else kept watch, making sure no one got too close. It felt unreal, like she'd stepped into someone else's life for a moment. An ambulance was called, but Lily insisted she was okay. Bruised, sore, but okay. She just wanted to sit up. They helped her back into her chair, careful and respectful, like every movement mattered. When her mom arrived, breathless and terrified, having rushed there after a call from a bystander, she broke down when she saw Lily upright, surrounded by these unlikely guardians. She thanked them over and over, her voice cracking, hands trembling. One of the bikers told her it was nothing, that they'd do it again without thinking. They stayed until Lily and her mom were ready to leave. They walked them to the bus stop, engines silent, presence loud in the best way. Before they parted, one of the women riders crouched down to Lily's level and told her something she would never forget. She said the world can be cruel, but it's also full of people who won't stand for that cruelty. And Lily deserved to take up space just like anyone else. As the bus pulled away, Lily watched them in the reflection of the window, leather jackets catching the light, standing there like they'd always belonged to that moment. In the days that followed, Lily replayed that afternoon in her mind. The fear was still there, but it no longer stood alone. It was paired with something stronger, a sense of worth, a memory of strangers who saw her pain and chose to act. She started going back to the pier, sometimes with her mom, sometimes alone again. She noticed things she hadn't before. Small kindnesses, a vendor who lowered his counter so she could see the menu, a child who smiled at her chair like it was the coolest thing in the world. The world hadn't magically changed, but Lily had. She began volunteering at a local support group, sharing her story with others who felt invisible. She spoke about fear, about courage, about the day the ground rumbled and everything shifted. Kindness doesn't always arrive quietly. Sometimes it roars in on engines and leather jackets. Sometimes it looks intimidating on the outside and gentle at its core. And sometimes it shows up exactly when someone needs it most, reminding them they matter. What happened on that pier rippled far beyond a single afternoon. It reminded everyone who witnessed it that doing nothing is a choice, and stepping forward can change a life. Lily carries that lesson with her now, rolling through the world a little taller, a little braver, knowing that even in the darkest moments, kindness can surround you from places you never saw coming. If this story stirred something in you, let it be a reminder that you don't have to be loud or powerful to make a difference. You just have to care enough to act. The next time you see someone being pushed aside, remember Lily, remember the sound of engines rising in defense of a stranger, and choose to be part of that circle of kindness. And if you've witnessed or been part of a moment like that, share it in the comments. Your story might be the one someone else needs to hear today.